I've been playing Roblox since 2016, and I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I still kinda suck. But what if there was a way to fix that? What if I could turn myself into a Roblox god?
But Earthlord, there is a way, because you have
A plan. Over the next 5 days, I'll be learning one Roblox skill every single day, and each one gets progressively harder. So by day 5, I'll have put everything to the test.
I don't want to do this anymore.
But let's start with day 1, which is obbies. Ever since I was a kid, I've been pretty horrible at obbies.
Oh.
But today, that's gonna change. Now, how am I gonna improve at my obby skills, you may be asking? By torturing myself. I'm not gonna stop until I beat 5 towers on the Eternal Towers of Hell, famously one of Roblox's hardest obbies. But let's do some warm-up first. The Tower of Hell. I'm sure you all know what it is. To warm up, I'm gonna be playing this for an entire hour, and see how many times I can win. I'm like, oh my, I was about to say I was like low-key cooking.
One eternity later.
This is the first time I beat it in like 40 minutes. Yeah, so I ended up only winning 1 time in an entire hour. But that's alright, because we can now check off the first thing on our list, which means we have to move on to the Eternal Tower of Hell. I knew I wasn't ready, but that didn't matter, because today, whether I like it or not, I need to get good at obbies. Okay, I guess we start with the first one, Tower of a Simple Time. Even though I don't really play obbies, this was surprisingly easy. Oh my god. Dude, how did I miss this jump? Is that it? I'm almost there. It's just like this one last little thing. The first obby is officially done. This is like low-key kind of hard for the second tower. I haven't fallen yet though. I could feel the difficulty ramping up. Dude, we are almost there, I think. But it was still pretty easy. I think that's the end right there though. Locked in. And that's tower number 2, baby. Easy. So far, these obbies weren't that bad at all, so I decided to move on to the intermediate towers, which was a huge mistake. At first, tower number 3 wasn't actually that bad. Dude, if I fall in this one, I'm actually just like insanely sad. Spoiler alert, I fell a lot of times. Oh my god. No. Oh my gosh. I genuinely never expected this tower to be that hard. Dude, like the gamer stance I'm hitting right now is insane. I'm so dialed. It's the last one, I'm at the top. No. This was actual torture. No. Oh my god, no. We're back at pink. And it's almost been an entire hour now. But I could genuinely feel myself improving. Every time I fell, I got back up quicker. After an entire hour of work, I finished tower number 3. These obbies were getting harder fast, but with every failure, I was improving and thought I was ready for tower 4. Honestly, this one looks a little bit better. It doesn't look as tall. I was very wrong. Dude, how do you do those? Big surprise, this one was even harder. Dude, it got to the point where I genuinely wanted to give up. I actually don't want to do this anymore. But then I remembered why I'm doing this challenge in the first place. You see, in the intro when I said I was bad at Roblox, I wasn't kidding. But I want to get better. I want to make the young Earthlord proud. The one who sucked at Roblox. The one who sucked at obbies. Which means I need to complete day 1. So I pushed through. I fell a lot more times. Dude, it has been almost an hour. And I am at the top of whatever this is. But I kept getting better. Did you have no clue how bad I just want to get this done? For pretty much the rest of the obby, I was dead silent, absolutely locked in. I can see the end right here. It has been almost an hour and a half. I know my timer says 36 minutes, but that's because I kept like dying and it had to reset. In the end, I finally made it. We're done. We finished. We are finished. And now I only had one more obby to do, which is going to be the hardest obby I've ever done. I'm in for a very fun time. It was already 8 PM, so I need to make sure to get this obby done fast, cause believe it or not, I still need to sleep. Dude, what? The last obbies were nothing compared to this, and I knew I'd be suffering. But the entire time, I was silent. I didn't get mad when I fell, and I didn't even celebrate when I hit a hard jump. I was moving flawlessly. It was like I was getting better obbies. No, I was getting better at obbies. It's officially 9 p.m. Soon enough, it hit 9 p.m. and I had just fallen to the bottom. Okay, it's still 9 p.m. Now I'm at the bottom. Meaning I only had 1 hour left if I still wanted to sleep tonight. I fell again and again. But eventually, I did my perfect run. All that was left was one jump. Oh my god. And like that, I could finally check the next thing off the list. I had officially become an obby god, so one of the 5 skills are complete. But it was time to end off day 1, because I had a lot more skills to learn. It's day 2, and today's skill is UGC, which is basically creating hats and stuff. But of course, there's a problem. I've never made a 3D model before. In fact, I just had to download Blender. But let's start off with something simple. Step 1 is to make a shoulder pal. I started off by watching a tutorial, and soon enough, I got my avatar into Blender. So far, it wasn't going too bad. I got my shoulder pal all positioned, and it was pretty much ready. Now, all that was left was uploading it to Roblox. This is so cool. But there was a problem. I got an error again and again and again. Oh my god. So naturally, I watched a bunch more tutorials to fix that. And here we are, an hour later, and this time I can actually upload the UGC. Okay, validation succeeded. Okay, now we just still wait for it to be, moderated, I guess. But yeah, honestly, it looks pretty cool. I like that. Dude, there it is, there it is. The Earth Lord shoulder pal. That is awesome. And there we go. That's our first UGC item. Now that that's finished, we can move on to the next thing on our checklist, which is to make 2 original UGCs. So my plan is simple. Christmas is coming up in a few months, so what if I made some Christmas UGC? I know, I'm a genius. Now the hard part is, well, actually making them. That's right, it's time for more tutorials. But I was starting to get used to Blender. Okay, so I have 2 different ideas. One of them is like a Christmas version of my glasses, but instead I'm gonna make them like red and green and like model my own. And then idea number 2 is a mystery. I guess you'll just have to watch the video and find out. So I got to work with modeling the Christmas glasses, and they almost made me quit this video. You'll find out why. Okay, so this is like kind of like my reference. Okay, I kind of got with the shape of the glasses down. Okay, that's pretty much all of the modeling done, and now I gotta figure out how to make them look good. So I spent an entire hour trying to figure out how to texture it. Dude, you have no idea how mad this is making me. This is so frustrating. I'm not kidding, I tried literally everything, and I still couldn't figure it out. Since I genuinely could not texture it after like almost 2 hours, I decided to just make a teal version of my glasses instead. And there they are. They're honestly not that bad. This was my last resort. I just made them teal colored glasses. You can't be serious right now. Genuinely, oh my god. I was exhausted. 2 hours of work all just went to waste. But I couldn't just quit. It was only day 2 of the challenge. I needed to keep going. It doesn't matter how frustrated I am, because after all, learning takes time. Okay, we're in a brand new Blender file, and I'm gonna try again. This time, I decided to switch it up, and I went for a more original model. And I even figured out how to texture them. Well, I thought I did. Dude, I tried so hard to get this thing textured, and I couldn't. Like, it's all colored on Blender, but when I export it into Roblox Studio, it's like all gray. So I think I'm just gonna make them teal. Okay, here's what they look like. They're like a hat, kind of. Almost 3 hours. It's not what I originally planned to make, but it's something. I was finally finished the glasses. They weren't what I hoped to make, but it worked out. Even though they were nothing impressive, I was proud of myself. After all that frustration, I never gave up. But I still have to make another hat, and this time I'm actually gonna make it a Christmas item. I came up with the idea of making a fedora, so I locked in. Okay, I've done it. I made a Christmas-themed fedora. I added a few more finishing touches, and it was done. Dude, I'm actually like really happy with this. Now, I'm just hoping I can export it to Roblox, because at this point, if I get an error, I will crash out. I don't know why this happened, but I kind of like how it looks. It's like a bubble effect. And yeah, pretty solid fedora. Here's what it looks like on the character. Second UGC has been finished. With all 3 of the UGCs finished, I completed day 2, and can now call myself a UGC god.
He's so awesome. He's so good at UGC. He's really handsome too.
For just learning Blender today, these weren't that bad in my opinion, and these 3D modeling skills might come in handy for day 5, but it was getting late, so I ended off day 2. Oh, I was just cutting open the box, cause it's day 3, and as you can see, today's skill is scripting. I've made quite a few Roblox games, but I've never actually tried to script them. I always end up just hiring someone else to do it, so I have no idea what to expect. But as always, we're gonna start small, with making 2 really simple scripts. Okay, so to start off, I'm gonna make a kill brick script, which is just a part that deals damage. Sounds pretty easy to make, right? Okay, time to cook something up. Well, it wasn't super hard, but it took me a lot longer than I thought it would. Okay, I have no clue if this is gonna work, but let's test it out. Okay, it did not work. Soon enough, I realized I had no clue what was going on, so I turned on some more tutorials. Okay, this time I think it should work. Okay, so if I touch this brick, I should die. How did it still not work? What? Somehow, even with a tutorial, I failed. So I tried again. I think I fixed it. There we go. That's my first working script. It took me about 15 minutes, but it felt good to make a working script. Now for the next one, I'm gonna try to make a conveyor belt. Okay, for this one, I'm low-key following a tutorial straight off the bat. Okay, this one was pretty short. So when I stand on this, I should start moving. There you go, it works. Okay, that's 2 of our easy scripts finished. So I checked out the first thing on the list, but now we move on to making an entire game system. So far, I've needed to watch quite a few tutorials, but I felt like I was kinda getting the hang of it. So maybe scripting an entire game system wouldn't be that bad. Okay, so for the game system, I want to start by making some coins that you can collect. Once again, I followed a tutorial. Okay, this one wasn't actually that bad, honestly, but let's test it out and see if it works. And there we go, we got a coin. So that's the first part of the game system done, and I want like something to spend the coins on, but yeah, I'll go from there. It took me about 40 minutes to script all the coins, and seeing them work was actually pretty cool. So now I'm gonna get working on a shop. This part was pretty new to me. I had never touched UI before. I'd also never scripted it, but the code was starting to make sense. To explain it simply, it's like telling someone exactly what to do step by step, except you have to speak in robot language. Okay, this time I made like a bunch of GUI, and honestly, it looks pretty fire. And I'm gonna do my first little test to see if the shop will open up. And it doesn't, which is awesome. Guys, I fixed it, and this time it actually opens. That's coding genius right there. So now that I got the shop to open up, I needed to be able to sell stuff. And this is where it started to get a little bit tricky, because I had to be able to use the coins to buy it, which means I kinda had to link the scripts together. I was so focused that I kinda just forgot to talk. It was ready to test out for the first time, but I realized that I somehow broke the coins. But I was pretty sure I got it fixed. So in theory, now we have a working shop that will like let you buy a sword. And if it doesn't work, then I will be very sad. Okay, so first we go over here, I'll grab a coin, and then now we go to the shop, and click on sword, and look, it costs 50 coins, and it gave us a sword. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, it actually feels like really good to script something and like have it work. So now I put all the scripts together and created a little mini game. Okay, so here's my finished little mini game. This uses like all the different scripts I did. So it's sort of like a conveyor, like speedrun kind of game. You got the kill bricks I made, the conveyors, the coins, and then at the end you have more coins, and you can use those coins to buy some swords. And yeah, it's like a little game system. It wasn't much, but I could be proud of myself, cause when I look around, I made everything here. I was feeling like a scripting god, and I think you know what that means. We can cross off the checklist. I was feeling amazing. I thought I'd never learn stuff like this, but if you put in the time and effort, it's possible. Maybe even easier than you think. Over the past 3 days, I beat one of the hardest obbies I've ever seen. I made some pretty cool UGC, and I scripted an entire game myself. Ending off day 3, I felt ready to open up that next box, but I headed to bed. It's day 4, and I ran out of ideas on how to open the box. Today, we're gonna be doing animation, something I've been wanting to learn for a very long time, but it always just seemed insanely complicated. It could take hours just for a few seconds of good animation. To be honest, today might be the hardest day yet, but I better get started as soon as possible. First off, I want to make 2 simple animations. Okay, to start off, I'm gonna try and make a walk cycle. I feel like I have a rough idea of what's going on. Moon Animator was super new to me, but I think I was starting to understand how to use it. So it's like keyframes, so you move it, and then it creates one, and then you can move it again over here. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm gonna lock in and do my walk cycle. After a little while, I had my walking animation finished, and here's the grand reveal. Yeah, it looked pretty terrible, but it was the first animation I've ever made, so to me, it was pretty beautiful. For the next one, I wanted to try making a sword swing. You know, something more cinematic. Okay, I'm pretty much finished the body movements, so I got the character to move, but now I had to animate the sword, and it took me way longer than it should have. Okay, I just realized like how much work this is about to be. My idea was to have him throw it in the air, and then swing the sword downwards. But I had to edit that frame by frame, all while following the animation I already made. It was pretty annoying. And after about an hour, yes, an entire hour, it was complete. Okay, I'm almost done. I think I'm pretty much done. And it looks, well, kind of okay. Absolute cinema. Apart from the sword being super choppy, this animation was a huge improvement, but there's no time to keep staring at it, because I need to move on to making an entire fight scene. So what I want to do here is make this guy fly towards another guy, and he's gonna punch him in the chest, and he's gonna go flying backwards and then like explode or something. Now that I had a plan, it was time to lock in. I knew this could take hours, but lucky for me, I could stay up, because I didn't have anything important happening tomorrow anyways. Actually wait, it's day 5 tomorrow, and it's gonna be the hardest challenge yet. Well, I'll try not to think about that, because I should get working on this animation. Okay, I just had a genius idea. What if I make the other guy duckable, and I beat him up just like I'm gonna beat him to 100,000 subscribers? What a wonderful idea. There's just one problem. While I was editing this video, I already beat duckable to 100k subscribers.
You may have won this time, but I'm coming back for revenge.
On a serious note, thank you guys all so much for 100k. It really does mean a lot. But hey, feel free to subscribe, but only if you're enjoying the video. Anyways, now that I've decided who I'm gonna beat up, this is actually about to take so long. I first started working on the flying animation. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually like cooking right now. Just look at that, that looks so sick. I decided to break up the animation into scenes. The first was obviously me flying, but then I want to change the camera angle and show Duckable's reaction. After that, I want to switch the camera back to me and finish up the actual punch. Okay, it does look like pretty goofy right now, but you gotta trust the process. It's gonna look cool. By now, it had already been about 40 minutes, but I had some pretty good progress. Okay, so I just like gotta make him move forward more, I guess. Animating the punch is about to be like pretty annoying probably, but the hand is like fully extended. I was getting really excited to see how it would turn out, but there was still a lot of animation left. It was 11 p.m., and I didn't really have the energy to talk anymore. I just sat there, animating frame by frame. I knew I was over halfway done, but now came the hardest part. I had to animate the punch connecting with Duckable, and him getting absolutely destroyed. Yeah, this was taking forever. It was pretty hard to animate him being destroyed, because I had to make his fall look natural, which, as you can imagine, takes a lot of keyframes. Soon it would be 12 o'clock, so I need to make sure to finish before the day ends, or else I'll fail the challenge. And I can't fail, there's only one more day left, so let me tell you, I dialed in. There wasn't a single thought inside my head that wasn't about this animation. So I'm just building like a chill little set. I built the scenery, and now I had to animate the camera angles. To be honest, Moon Animator is just a little bit clunky, and making the camera angles might have been the most annoying part. It was now 11:50, only 10 minutes away from failing the challenge. The animation is finally finished, and they even built this nice little set. And yeah, get prepared to be amazed. I cannot believe that took like 2 hours. And to all the animators out there, I respect you so much now. Because the amount of time this kind of stuff takes is like genuinely insane. But yeah, that was my animation. I thought it was pretty cool. Since I finished the fight scene, I can now call myself an animation god. Meaning day 4 is complete. And needless to say, I headed straight to bed. I'm worried about what's inside that box. It has the potential to ruin the next entire day of my life. Well, good night. It's the final day of the challenge, and there's no better way to do this. Here we go. Today, I'll have to build an entire game by myself. Like I've said before, I've made quite a few games, but I've always had a 4-person team with me. Now, it'll just be me. And you see, all those skills I've learned, they're gonna come in handy right about now. Before this, all I could do was build. I couldn't script, I couldn't animate, I couldn't model, and I was also bad at hobbies. But now, I can do all those things, so it's time to put my skills to the test. And today, there's no easy step. There's only one checkbox left. Finish this game, and become a Roblox god. To start off, I need to come up with an idea, so I've written down 4 game ideas. We have Brainrot Obby, Obby but it's one stage, Obby but without a frisbee, you know, a take on a classic, and I don't know. I decided to go with Obby but it's one stage. Now that I knew how to beat hard obbies, I figured I'd be able to make them too. So I kinda wanna make it like an Eternal Tower of Hell level, where there's no checkpoints, but I'll put my own spin on it. I'll figure something out. Now that I have my idea, it's time to start building the map. This will be a big chunk of the work. Then I'll script the game and hopefully add some GUI, and if I have time, I'll put some animations. To get things started, I worked on a spawn island. I went for like a classic kind of style, and if you can't tell, I spent way too long on this. This clip is 100 times speed, by the way. Okay, so I finished the spawn island, and I'm gonna continue like going this way, like straight out. Making the spawn took me 30 minutes, and it's now 12 p.m., which means I have a total of 12 hours to complete this game, so I better hurry up. So it's been about like an hour and a half since I last, I don't know, checked in, I guess. It's taking a very long time. Building an obby is not easy because you have to make sure it's like possible, so you have to try it out a few times. I think I'll make it like 2 or 3 more stages and like make the last few stages super hard. I took a lunch break, so I actually need to lock in right now. And I did lock in, but I'm not gonna lie, I underestimated how long building an obby would take. What you just saw was like 40 minutes of building. I was going pretty slow, because I kept running out of ideas for stages. It's 5 p.m. and I have almost finished it. I actually need to lock in. I need to lock in so hard. Eventually, I got to building the final stage. I've never really built hard obbies before, but after about 5 hours, I was catching on, and I made this last stage diabolical. I worked on finishing up the winter zone, and eventually, I was done building. It only took me 6 hours. Okay, here we are. Building is finished. I'm really happy with how it turned out. The obby like progressively gets harder, which is good. But now it's time for scripting and GUI. I was pretty glad to be done with building, but it's not over yet, because I'm only halfway there, and I still need to script and animate. I used a couple scripts from day 3, but there was still a lot I had to do. So these are the main things I want to script. I want to make an NPC, music and sound effects, badge at the end, and GUI. Whether I'll have enough time for all of that, I don't know. I had just under 6 hours left. At this point, I was worried. I didn't know if that'd be enough time for scripting and animation, but the only thing I can do now is try my best, I guess. I tried making a timer, but when I tested it, it didn't work. Damn it. Now isn't the time for failure. I was running out of time, and there was still so much I wanted to add. I wasn't gonna give up, and luckily for me, I once again found some good tutorials, and I managed to figure it out. The timer works, the timer works. I also got a music playlist working, and I made a mute button too. Okay, so right now I'm trying to get this mute button to work, but it like does not want to work, so I might just have to run without it. I put some pretty fire music though. I spent a little too long in the first couple scripts, because it's now 9:30. Yeah, this is the UI so far. It doesn't look that bad, but I did waste a lot of time on the mute button. I moved on to making a few badges. And then I wanted to animate some NPCs. There were gonna be 7 NPCs around the map total, and each one has their own animation. As you can guess, it took a while. Once I finished the first animation, I realized how much time the dialogue script would take, so I just found one and customized it. But hey, you just keep this between you and me, right? I was finally seeing everything work, and it was really cool. But now, it was the final hour. The main things I wanted to get done were all the animations and customizing the dialogue. I finished all the NPCs, and now there was only 15 minutes left. I couldn't believe I got all the animations done in time. All that was left was some finishing touches. I cleaned up some building, and added a map, and then the day was over. 1 second. That's time, I guess. It's 12 hours of work. And I think I actually made like a pretty solid game. I'm very happy with it. The mute button might not work, but I added a cool little storyline with all the NPCs. I even have this little secret. Don't tell anybody about it though, because it's a secret, okay? I guess I'll publish the game and then we could test it out. Here it was. The last 12 hours of work right in front of me. Okay, so for some reason the time leaderboard is broken, but like the GUI is working, so there were a few things that broke, but it was still a solid game. I got some friends to join me, and they were having fun.
Vertical hell. I mean,
Take a look at this guy.
I did it. I made a pretty good game, all by myself. Over the past 5 days, I've learned a lot of Roblox skills. But remember, I did this for a reason, so did I become a Roblox god?
You kinda sucked at a lot of things, but you persisted through it all, Earthlord. By accomplishing these difficult tasks, I now name you a Roblox god.
I did it. I can now check off the final box. Well, the final day is over. I learned all 5 skills, and I just got named a Roblox god.
You know that's not like an official thing, right?
I mean, that's clearly a costume. He's not like a real god.
Wait, what?
You guys said you wouldn't tell him.